Hi everyone, let me just check my microphone. Okay, right, hopefully everything is up and working okay. So welcome to the draw along today, where we will be continuing working on our tiger. But first of all, a little bit of housekeeping. Obviously, let me know if you can see me and if you can hear me and everything is looking and sounding okay. It's no good me sitting here talking to the empty universe and you can't see or hear me. So also let me know where you're tuning in from today, what time it is where you are today. So I appreciate if you're in the US, it's going to be early, and if you're over in Australia staying up, it's going to be late. Oh, I can still see it's 6 a.m. there with Barb. Brilliant. South Wales, some people tuning in for the first time, and there's others here that are names that I know well. So welcome everyone. We've got two moderators with us today. So we've got hubby Rob is looking in, just checking. Good, sound is good. And Susan is there. Is it just me with no sound? It may well be. It sounds like it. So I'll just let everybody just comment there. We're not so pressed for time today. Obviously this is on my channel. Last week we went out on Derwent's channel, which was really, really cool. And also in the chat, let me know if you're drawing along today. I've seen lots of the images of the works in progress from last week. And then, of course, I did another little live stream on Sunday on my Facebook page for an hour just to catch up with some of you and also then just be ready for today. I should have got my second eye done, really, but I haven't. So Suzanne can't stay, you can watch the replay. Nice of you to drop in, Suzanne, anyway, so thank you. Molly's here, just got up. Cambridgeshire, Barry and Surrey, sound is good, excellent. Paula's in from Niagara Falls, 9 a.m, 3 p.m. in South Africa with Megan. Cindy, it's Calgary, 7 a.m. Ah, it's not too bad then, considering the dogs do get me up at about 5 a.m. here. Drawing along. So let me know if you're drawing along. Obviously, if not, if you're joining for the first time today, there's links in the description for all your resources. So your reference material, your line drawing, a materials list guide. If you haven't got the materials list, any black paper and a black and a white pencil, or a couple of white pencils, a bright white and a translucent white pencil, absolutely fine. I'm obviously using the Derwent Procolours and the Derwent drawing pencil today. The Procolour white is my translucent, and the drawing will be my more opaque for the bright whites, which we're going to tackle today. You're drawing along, but way behind in the middle of moving house. Oh, God. You can hear now. Brilliant, Susan. That would have been a bit of a nightmare if you couldn't hear me. So, lots of people coming in. People are watching. Some are you're drawing along on the suede mat board. I think I'm going to have to do a draw along on the suede mat board for everyone. And I'm just checking. I think I'm missing a tool. Bear with me a second. I know that I need to be working on the nose, so I've got a bag of styluses here for the students. So I just need to grab another stylus. So I've obviously used the stylus this week on another drawing. So drawing along, watching, drawing along. First time from Massachusetts for Bev. Might have to pop off, been watching online, 9 a.m. here. Drawing along Barbara. Carolyn's drawing along. Susie's watching and learning today. Hopefully learning. Who knows? I tend to talk lots and people's work turns out looking okay, so I think that I'm getting something across. I often feel like I'm just waffling away. Just doing live study, drawing along. Louise, just watching. Cosina, fab, cool. Well, the chat is there. If you ask a question and I miss it because I'm drawing along, what I'll try and do is stop part way through like we did last week or a couple of times, and I'll say, right, has anybody got any questions? if anyone comes in late and is asking sort of like just what pencils I'm using or what paper, I'm using black mount board, and Susan or Rob are there, and they'll just come in with the answers just to repeat to people, if it's just a general question or anything like that. If it's a more specific question you want to ask me sort of part way through and it's not relative and it won't hold you up with the drawing, I'll just say we're going to do question time now, and we'll just stop for a little break, let everyone catch up. I don't work too fast. You might find yourself working faster. I try and work as slow as possible on the draw-alongs to allow for everybody out there to hopefully keep up. Obviously, when I work normally, I Speedy Gonzales, and I just plough ahead and I work all over at the same time. 6 a.m. drawing along Miss Sunday. That's okay, Dawn. I've just mapped in a little bit more. Let me bring my image up so you can see where we are at. Okay, so I'll make myself disappear in a minute. So you can see all of the picture. So I've got my pencils ready, and I've also got my stylus ready, and I've got the finest of my styluses. The one I'm using today, I do have one which I was using last week, which is the Derwent one, but I found out since that these used to be sold as part of like a little pack with a little guide, a little eraser shield, but that doesn't sell now. You might be able to still pick it up in some shops. So what I tend to buy are packs of, I'll show you, I think I might have a full pack here. No, I've got a mix pack. So basically I buy these packs of 5 styluses, and I'm also a nail art technician, so I used to use these as dotting tools. They're nail art dotting tools, and you can buy a pack of 5, all different sizes. Each end is, you can see here that some of these ends are really big, and then I'm using a really fine end for mine. So you can get those online, eBay, Amazon. I think I've got a link on here somewhere, an affiliate link. So I've just got my stylus ready, and we're going to be using that one around the muzzle area, and then I'm going to continue using my Derwent Procolour, and then we'll use the Derwent Drawing Chinese White for our brighter areas. Okay, so that's okay. Coming in a little bit late, that's fine. I hope Rob's got plenty of treats, maybe some for the dogs. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I've got 5 dogs. They've just had midday or late midday snacks. They were asleep, but there's no way they'll stay asleep for 2 hours, so the patio doors are open. They might be out in the garden running, chasing up and down the stream or something. So if they bark, they bark. You might hear them in the background, so I apologise if you do, but some of you I know find it quite amusing. Right, so let's get going. Switch over to this main camera. Now I need to get the reference photo up. There we go, I've got the reference photo up there for you. So hopefully that is all coming through okay. So I've got to jiggle all my screens around that I can see. Yeah, that's all coming through okay for you. Obviously, if there's any problems with the transmission or anything like that, just give us a shout in the chat and I'll try and keep an eye on it. Lighting is a problem, a bit like photographing. You'll find this when you come to photographing your piece. Photographing white on black is a nightmare, as is scanning. And I found it also to be a little bit of a pain for capturing on the camera. So I've got different lights set up in here and different reflectors, and I found last time if I brought this up a little bit, this is my glassine paper which I rest my hand on, so you can see I rest my working hand on there so I don't transfer any oils onto my support, and also I don't lift any or smudge any of my work. If you don't have Derwent, what opaque white do you recommend? Do you have... You've got no Derwent. I was going to say either the Lightfast would work, a Prismacolor white or a Pablo white. They are the other two, or even a Museum Aquarelle, a Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle, or a Albrecht Dürer. The only one I wouldn't recommend would be the Polychromos, because again, that's a translucent one. You'd use that one in place of your Derwent Procolour, but for the really bright white, you want something like, yeah, your Prismacolor white, your Pablo. Most of the others give you a nice bright white. Yeah, Prismacolor, it is a nice bright white. I have done some tests on black paper. There is a video on here. which would show you that. So I need to get my reference photo up alongside. Okay. So I want to continue, first of all, I'm going to continue just coming out, and I might actually start on this outside edge and get this bright white in, because we did some of the push and pull of the dark shadows into the white last time. I want to do some of the bright white. I want to come over and show you how to knock back and create the slightly darker shadow areas, and I want to create some of the texture on the muzzle. So a lot to try and show you today, but I'm hoping to show you enough technique that we're not going to be finished, but you'll be able to go away and finish. I'm sat here and I'm talking to the camera like you can still see me. Actually, I guess I can bring myself up on screen and then you can see how much I'm looking across at the... Hopefully that shouldn't interfere too much with our screen. Yeah, that should be fine. So I'm going to come up and work on, let's pull this down, I'm going to work on that fur, the brightest fur furthest away, and then we'll work our way forwards, and then we'll see where we're at time wise and come across and work on some of the darker area down here, and then we'll work on the muzzle as well. Yeah, knitting needle's a good idea. A dart's a bit sharp for something like this, but someone else there with 5 dogs. Excellent. You know my struggles. So on the video on Sunday, we did some filling in work. Just all I've done is a light glaze all over in the direction of my fur using my Procolour, so your translucent pencil. I've just done one glaze all the way around, and all I did that for was just to map in my white stripes. So I've probably come in over some of my black stripe areas, but that is absolutely fine. Now, I did show you this last week, but I'm going to repeat it. I print out my reference photo the same size as my drawing, which means I can come in here, lay it down over my drawing, and then that will give me my exact measurements, pretty much, of where everything should be. Like here, this little dip in here, the shadow should be here. And same with when you line up, we've got this drop in the shadow here. We'll call it the black stripe and the white stripe. So the black stripe here, and it's here. So then you can just start to match up. That stripe should be there, and this stripe should be here. So you can just match up where everything should start and finish. It's a really good little trick to have, is to make sure your reference photo is the same size as your, if you're printing it out, as your actual drawing. So I've got one layer of Procolour down here. So what I'm going to come in and do now is actually come in straight away with my Chinese white, because I want to get some brighter white in here as well. So a nice pressure, light pressure, always the same light pressure, holding my pencil about 1/3 of the way up, not too much pressure at all, about a pressure 3 if you've done my pressure test. If you remember last week, I said that the Chinese white, you'll see it start to flake off. It's much softer than the Procolour, and it doesn't go down on it's waxy, so it doesn't go down on my mount board quite as smoothly as the Procolour, but you'll find that by rotating, I'm putting these little flicks down and then lifting away, just keeping an eye on the fur direction. You'll see my head moving backwards and forwards as I look at that reference. So I'm pulling some fur up into the black stripe and some out towards the edge. It doesn't need to be exact. Remember, we are going for the impression of fur. And we'll come up and do another layer. What I'm going to do is, where this is quite waxy and loose, I'll come in with Procolour over the top, and that will flatten it down and push it down into the mount board a little bit. And then we'll come in again over the top with our drawing pencil again. And also just measuring across there. And then just repeat that a couple of times. So if you come in with too heavy a pressure, especially on mount board or a smooth paper, you're not going to get any more layers down. So coming in with about a pressure 3 on my scale, say your pressure from your lightest pressure to your heaviest pressure is 1 for your lightest, 10 for your heaviest, which is where you're pressing as hard as possible. Then we're on about a pressure 3, which is pretty light. So I'm pressing in here and then flicking away, flicking away, flicking away. Keep an eye on the angle. Remember last week I showed you can lay your pencil down on your reference. So the fur is starting off quite horizontal, and then as we come down around the face, the angle starts to change. So as we come across here, my angle needs to start coming down, and as you can see, my angle is starting to come down there. And you can just keep checking as you go along. Got a little squiggly bit. I think I'm going to put that little squiggle in. We've got another squiggle along here. Doesn't need to be in exactly the right place. Let's put it in. It's a little bit of a guide then as well. So we'll just carry on working down there. Do you know what? I'm absolutely really warm. I should have brought the fan into the room. Might have to take a break partway through. The lights in here are very warm today. Everybody okay? Maybe this is from last week's apologies, man. Should have asked when the Derwent wrap was here, but is there a use for a white Derwent Colour Soft? I've got white Derwent Colour Soft. I think some people were using it on this. It's a soft white again. It would work. It's just that I picked up, I know the drawing pencil is one of the brightest of the whites. That's why I chose it for this one. I'm going to measure my angle again. Yep, that's all fine. But just try your pencils out. That's the best thing. I mean, to find out whether you like a pencil, whether it's going to work for you, try it. Make it do what you want it to do. Just coming up here and just flicking some of these lines, little fur flicks out. So there's a chunk there, then it comes in a little bit. Some flicks up, flicks down. I'm still measuring across. That's probably about as far down as I'm going to come, otherwise we're not going to have time to do it all. If you get ahead, absolutely fine. So I'm going to come in now with my Procolour over the top to try and smooth some of that out as well. So I'm going to come in and this will just smooth some of that out. I'm going to flick some fine hairs out as well. And push some back the reverse way into that dark stripe. So I'm flicking out this way and then pulling it back into that dark shadow area and black stripe. Doesn't matter if I've got too many extra fur hairs flicking out on that side, I don't mind. Let's say it's the effect that we're going for. Got a little squiggle there. So I'll stop in a second and you can just see, hopefully, the difference that going in with the Procolour over the top, you should just be able to see it on your screen, is this down here where just the wax pencil of the drawing pencil's gone down. And I said it's going down quite grainy. The Procolour just helps to smooth that out nicely. Really does create a lovely smoothness. And it's possibly because it's like, say, the drawing pencil's going to be have more wax in it, which helps make it softer. The Procolour is going to have a higher percentage of oil in it, and that is what makes it a harder pencil and also slightly translucent. It's all down to how much pigment is in there as well. So I'm pushing some up into that. It doesn't matter if you make almost that black stripe disappear, because we'll go in with our black pencil and pull some the black stripes back out again. The push and pull that we did last week. And so all the links for the previous videos are in the description. I think I put the YouTube, the one from my Facebook channel on there, but if not, I will make sure it is added on there. Okay, so just coming down around here. The black stripe pretty much disappears here anyway, so I'm going to push that up there, and then we'll pull that next white stripe out. It's quite funny, I didn't intend this, but I'm actually doing a full bright coloured tiger tutorial at the moment for my Patreon, and wasn't really planned to be a tiger month, but it is actually, I think, coming up for International Tiger Day as well, so it'd be great if we could all get our pieces finished and then shared out. Okay, so that's really nice and bright there, coming through. Yeah, I'm using Mountboard Josie. Kerry was using the Colour Soft last week. It's a bit more opaque, but the blade holds a better point and doesn't leave flakes of white everywhere. There you go, maybe I should have used the Colour Soft. Matte board and pastel matte. Ooh, like chalk and cheese. It's matte board, so it's what's used for mounting or matting. It is literally smooth, like cardboard basically, whereas your pastel matte is a textured surface. So completely different, like I say, literally like chalk and cheese. So I'm going to come in and do a little bit of black work now. So I'm just going to come in from the outside edge and just cut back through some of that fur on the outside edge. Fine, super sharp pencils you want here. This is why it said it doesn't really matter if you spill out a little bit, because you can break back through with your black, but you just need to make sure that it's really nice and sharp, and they stay sharp because these pencils, the Procolour, are harder because that higher oil content. They stay sharper. I can hear a Lucy-Lou barking downstairs. Okay, so I've cut in from the outside there. That's just broken up that outside edge a little bit. Someone just bought a tin of 24 Procolour off for £5 off the Art and Craft Supplies. Yeah, brilliant page. If you're on Facebook, the girls from Life and Pencils, who they run the podcast as well. They set up like an art selling page. So if you've got items that you've bought in good faith, thinking I'll try that, and then you tried them, or you've not tried them, they've still got dust on them. So keeping an eye on the angle now. I'm pulling this black stripe out now into the white. Keeping an eye on the angle so it starts to come down here. So yeah, that is an absolute bargain. Maybe someone bought them and did my workshop last week online and didn't enjoy it at all, so they've got rid of them. Maybe I put them off. Okay, so I'm just breaking through. Coming down here. We're going to come into that white and brighten up again. So that is about there. And then we'll cut back through with our black again. And it's as simple as that. So I'm just going to pull that out a little bit further. Quite random, so a little short flick and then a longer flick. So if you were doing this on something like pastel matte, you're going to need lots more layers. And you'd also need, because pastel matte doesn't come in black, you'd either need to blacken your surface first of all with pan pastel or a layer of paint, or you'd need to come in with and do a lot more work with your black pencil. Right, so I'm coming in here now with my drawing pencil. I'm flicking into the dark stripe and then outward, and I'm putting a little bit more pressure down. So I've come up now to maybe something like a pressure 5, because I know I'm not coming in with this pencil again. I want to try and get down as much bright white pigment there as the paper will take. I will come in over the top once more with my Procolour just to try and press it into place, but we want to just try and intensify this. If you were using pastel pencils, this would be coming up even brighter, quite bright straight away as well. We want a nice transition basically from bright white through to grey into black in the stripe. That's what we're aiming for. Oh, a tin of 12. Still, a tin of 12 for £5 is still really good. If you can get any pencil, any coloured pencil of artist quality for less than £1 a pencil, then you've got yourself a bargain, regardless of what make it is. Okay, so I'm just really intensifying this down here. So I'm pushing up, pulling down, pushing up, pulling down. Push and pull. It's just a term that I made up, but push and pull. Okay, so that's really bright. So if I lift that away now, the reference photo from where we started out, you'll see it's kind of coming up to the same level as the eye itself. We're not going to get it quite as bright as it is in the photo, because the photo, I've bumped the contrast up loads so that it's completely, you know, dramatic, brightest white. If you're working with slightly different pencils, slightly rougher surface that's grabbing the pigment more, you're going to be achieve that brightness a little bit more than I'm able to with this. Once more with my Procolour, just to press that layer of opaque pigment down, just to smooth it in there. A couple more flicks. I might just need to sharpen my pencil just to do those little flicks out. Should be okay. A little bit of brightness in there. Again, we're not going for exact. We're going for effect. So just carry on down here. Just carry on pushing. Pressing it all down. Because I know it's a bit like burnishing, so I know I'm not coming in here again. So, apart from with the black, just to break it up. Okay. So black pencil now. Just going to pay a little bit more attention. Now let's flick. I'm going to cut the odd one all the way through, just with light pressure though. Watch your angle. I need to get that next white stripe in before we finish this black work. Let's pull that down. Push that up a little bit. There's no right or wrong, remember. This is your version. And I love to see everyone's own artistic style coming through. I'm not trying to make, when I teach, I'm not trying to make everyone a mirror copy of what I create. I want to see what, you know, your guys, your style coming through as well. So with the lessons I teach, obviously I give a guide as to the pencils I'm using and why. I try and keep it nice and simple. But when you guys go off and see your own colours and start putting your own twist on things, that's what gets me excited as a teacher. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to move forward to the next one. We're going to talk about split primary palettes in the beginner draw along series. We're going a little bit off topic. But yes, we're going to be doing the next draw along. We do live draw along sessions over on my Patreon teaching channel. And we've been doing sort of tonal value, primary colours, and then drawing literally the last draw along. We just used a red, yellow and a blue, a black and a white to do fruit. Let's do a strawberry. The next one, we're doing a ladybird on a green leaf and background. So I'm going to be using, hopefully, the split primaries for that one. I'm going to confirm that all next week or in the next couple of days. Right, so now I'm going to come down to the next stripe. I just need to move my image across a tiny little bit more. There we go. So I'm coming down, you can't quite see it, I'm coming in now to this next white stripe up here. And we're going to get that one in. I might actually get in both of these at the same time, depending on time. How fast are we going? Oh, we're only half an hour in. That's fine. Let's just carry on then. So, angles again. Make sure you're not going to see that. Okay, so the angle for this white stripe here is that. So you literally just lay your pencil down and then carry it across. So I'm just going to come in. In fact, I'm coming again with my drawing white. I'm just going to sharpen it up a tiny bit first of all. It's a little bit blunt, which is okay, but I need to try, and I know the nib will possibly break off if I take it too sharp. Because you can see the size of the core there as well, compared to the Procolour. It's such a thicker core. I'm not sure. I think this one's 4mm. I'd need to double check that though. Okay, so we're coming back to that light pressure again now. The light pressure, approximately a pressure 3, and we're going to lay this stripe in. And I cut into that black a little bit, because remember we'll pull the black back out again. Okay, so I've come down there and I've laid it in the second stripe. We want to try and make this all join up today, really. That's the plan. Let's say we're just going to see where it goes time-wise. Okay, so that flicks up there. I'm keeping an eye on my angles. I'm obviously having to draw around. I've got a camera here right in front of me as well, so I'm trying to just draw around all of that. I need to try and get an overhead boom for these draw-alongs, and then the only thing I worry about then is that I'm sticking my head underneath. Okay, so we're going to come down here now. Let's get this next stripe in. Let's get the angle coming down there. I'm going to pull some of the stripes in here. And like I say, this will go a little bit thicker than it is in the reference, but that's fine, so we will just correct with our black pencil. So that black stripe there needs to come down, and this black stripe here needs to come up. That is fine. You need to overlap, because otherwise you'll have nothing to cut back into. It will just look like stripes with no fur texture. Okay, so I'm looking at the flick here. I'm going to move my board across so it's easier. So this fur here is going around the face. So let's go back over the eye. So the eye, it comes down at this angle, then up, and then around. And then here it comes up almost in a curve. This line here is almost in a curve, but then can you see it starts to change and it comes around. You don't want to just go flick, 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 all at the same angle. It comes down, up, arcs, and then comes down again. I would draw my reference photo. I suppose I could do it for you. Let's grab a different colour pencil that's going to show up well. Let's grab a pink. So just to demonstrate that, on here, this comes down, up, that is the line that the fur direction follows. You don't want to just do a straight line up, because otherwise you won't get that lovely feel of the curve. Okay, right, back to laying down our drawing pencil. Any more questions there? Put my big gold pants on and use my colour stuffed on the suede mat. It's going down a treat. Brilliant, Avril. That's great to know. Oh, that is great to know. Getting whites to show up on the suede mat board can be difficult. I know sometimes I've gone in over the top with a little touch of pastel. So I'm just using that lightish pressure coming down here. Remembering those angles, how they change. So here they come up here. And this is curving up as well. So I'm flicking up, down, up, down, back and forth. Just building the pigment. Watching that angle where it changes. It starts to curl round here, then come down. That is just one of the key things, and it's all about, it comes with practice anyway, of learning your contours of your drawing animals. But it's really mainly about seeing. So here, it's starting to curve. It's also about, I mean, you could come in here and just, you know, done those stripes at any angle you wanted, but it would not have given you the contour. You'd have lost the contour of the fur itself. There we go. I'll just get this in here, so let's come across. We've got a dark shadow there, which we will knock back. This is coming up, and that's kind of curving around there. I'll be with you once I've done this layer. Then we'll come in over the top again with our Procolour, flatten it back, then our black to pull the shadows out, and then a touch more of our white. Okay. I think I started with my pencil at the wrong angle, and I'm having a hard time correcting my mistakes. You mean your first layer of pencil that you put down, you've done it, you've put the pencil down at the wrong angle. So say the fur was going like that, you might have put it down like that, I think, Suzanne. You could correct it if you've only put one light layer down. You could correct it with your next layer. But if you're using the mount board or a smooth paper, it doesn't give you a huge opportunity to put that right. I know when I did the mapping in the other day, I was saying to everyone, you know, sort of make sure, I was just keeping my pencil down, I was literally quite scribbling it down, but I was always going in the direction of the actual fur itself as much as I could. Okay, Suzanne, how hard do you try? My strokes are still looking too thick. With your white pencil or your black pencil? I know Susan's jumped in there and asked if you've got it super sharp, your pencils. See how sharp my pencils are? They're not super sharp, but because I've just obviously blunted them from use there, but I will sharpen up again. I'm going to go in with my Procolour again now, just to squash this down. So I'm going to work quite quickly, just squash that down. If you're using different pencils that aren't quite as waxy or flaky as my drawing pencil, then you might not need to do this squishing down. I'd imagine if you're using Procolour, I mean, I could pull other pencils out to use, but I want to try and do this all using the two initial pencils, sorry, the two types of pencils that I started out with. So I'm just, again, flicking my head, eyes back and forth. This stripe is too wide, but it's absolutely fine. I'm going to correct it in a second with my black. This just really helps just to smooth out that application. It makes such a difference. This is a case of where you might try using the drawing pencil, and then you're like, oh, well, I don't like that, how that's going down. So then you might not use them again, but it's the fact that it's the combination, combining. Lots of people often say, well, can you combine this pencil with that pencil? Can you do this with that? A lot of the time, they complement each other. So, yeah, you need to use some with others. I started using my artist pencils this last week on another tiger drawing alongside Inktense, but I started using them on pastel mat, and they work beautifully, but combined with other pencils, they're going to work amazingly. But on their own, I would have maybe thought, oh, okay, they're not going to achieve exactly what I want them to achieve. But combining this one on here, on the mount board, with my Procolour is the perfect choice. Putting these two pencils together. There we go. So now I've squished that down. I'm confused between certain British terms and American terms. Had me lost. One of my pups is named Ladybird. So I asked, oh, where have I seen that? Ladybird. Have I missed something? Ladybird. I've missed something. Maybe about the Ladybird that we're about to draw, the next DrawAlong over on Patreon. It's a Ladybird, we call them here, so I'm guessing it's a Ladybird, red with the black spots on. That's what we're drawing next time, next weekend for our DrawAlong over on Patreon. Okay, Marie's used the Prismacolor white in places on the eye, and it's worked really nicely with the Derwent. Which Derwent? With the Procolour, or which Derwent, Marie, if you don't mind me asking? It's always good to share everything. Right, okay, so coming in now with my black. So I need to just come to this stripe, the black stripe from before, and we'll start just to correct down into that area. Okay. We'll cut back into it from both directions. We'll come in from the outside. Watch your angles. Watch your placement. Now the white comes out here a little bit, so we just need to bring our black out and create a curve. And we need more white coming in here. We might need to do it with our, I think we're going to need to do it with our drawing. And this white just comes out here as well. There we go. And I never take an area fully to completion until right at the end of a piece. So I'll do all of this and take it to about 90% done. Procolour and drawing, and you've added in the Prismacolor as well, Marie. Gotcha. Work well with the drawing. Public to smoosh everything. Yeah, yeah, I think that's it, Kerry. I think if they're used underneath, the artists are used underneath, and then you use a harder pencil over the top, you can mix and blend and push it around, or smoosh it, as I like to call it. Technical term. Okay, so let's come across that, fix down there. Right, so in here now, let's start to pull this next black stripe outwards. Presume the sound and picture, everything is staying okay for you all. Last week I was absolutely gutted. I went back in on the DrawAlong with Derwent, and at the beginning, where I was doing a big introduction and a big thank you to Derwent for inviting me on, etc., and who I was. Hi, I'm Lisa, the artist behind Animal Art by Law, etc., etc. It had cut out. The stream had cut out right at the beginning. Unless you knew, you wouldn't be able to tell, but it's literally 5 or 6 seconds in, it cut out. I just managed to say hello, and I was absolutely felt awful as I was watching it back. So I thought, well, I know the most important thing, I needed to do on there as well was to thank Derwent for inviting me on. But the rest of it went well, and obviously, you guys, anyone else following, didn't know that, but yeah, technical glitches, don't you just love them? And we live out in the middle of nowhere as well, so the internet's okay, but it can dip in and out, so I'm just popping that in down there. And then we'll need to come in then as well and start to pull this stripe up. So we're working all that area together. Last week we just kind of focused on one area at a time, but they all match up. The black stripes create the shape of the white stripes, and the white stripes create the shapes of the black stripes. Oh, I've moved the thing and I didn't move it back. I am sorry. Thank you. Just to bear with me a second. I just need to ask hubby to do something. Sorry, I didn't realise though. I'd moved it to show you something and then it's gone out of shot, didn't it? Hopefully that is back in shot now. That's me talking away. Okay, hopefully that's okay. Sorry about that, Megan. Okay, we're back in shot now. I've got a different screen open. I've got a couple of different screens open. So when I look up, it looked like everything was in line, but hopefully we are back there now. Yep, okay. Right, so now I can come in. I just want to strengthen up now whilst I'm here some of this stripe, so I can really concentrate on making that stripe nice and dark in places. And then the same in here now. And then we'll brighten up that white once more. Okay. Use a honey coloured ears and a marking on her face like spots on a ladybird. Brilliant. An esky. Brilliant. I need to see a photo now. Okay, so I'm coming in once more with another layer of the Derwent drawing. The brightest of white. Just making sure you can see. Let's pull that forward a little bit. There we go. And then we'll smooth it out with the Procolour, and then we'll come back in again with our black. Like I say, I always then do a top to toe right at the end of the piece to balance everything. So I'll take it's about 90% done, and then I come back in and I work the whole piece top to toe again, or top of the head to nose. Forehead to nose in this case. So I just want to get some more pigment down, just to really super brighten and whiten this up. We probably won't be using this pencil on the other side of the face. We're going to do all of that hopefully with just our Procolour. Let me just check the time. 2:50. Okay. I'm just going to speedily pop this in. It's exactly the same principles we did on that outside. Just wiggling my pencil just to get some extra pigment down there. Pulling some more up into that shadow as well, into the black stripe. And then the same here, so you can see there just how bright that is going down. So a little bit more pressure with this layer. So I'm only coming in here once more with my white Procolour to press it down. So I'm quite happy to lose some of what's left of the tooth. There's not a lot of tooth there in the first place. Rotating your pencil does help to self-sharpen as well. I always tend to be turning my pencil the whole time as I'm working. Okay, so you see just how much that has brightened up now. Oh, that's cool. You guys are talking about dogs. That's fine. You carry on. That's most definitely allowed in the chat. Talk about the dogs as much as you like. I would love a huge Malamute or a chow. I'd love a chow. We had what we think was a chow kind of cross, a Romanian Raven Shepherd, and he did have the face of a chow. But I know Molly's watching, and her Mau Mau absolutely loved him, and the character are beautiful, beautiful animals. Right, I just need to self-correct this area here, which I will do with the black pencil. So I need to just squish and push my my drawing pencil down now using my Procolour. Paying a little bit more attention to all the shapes of the black stripes and the white stripes. Push and pull. I need to flick some of those up. I need to sharpen the pencil before I do that. I need to correct that little shape there as well. So I'm just noticing all of this as I'm working. It becomes quite repetitive. So you should understand now how we create the black stripe into the white in the brightest areas, and then we need to come over and do a similar thing over in our darker area on the left hand side of the face, and then we'll tackle that muzzle a little bit. Just so I know I showed a hint of it last week. Here we go. Let's have a look. There's Dawn. Not sure what I've done wrong, but I have some black paper showing in the black you have some black paper showing in the black stripes, unlike yours. Black paper showing. I'm not quite sure what you mean there. I don't have enough layers down in the black area yet. Are you using the same materials, Dawn? Some of the black area I might not actually put any pencil down. I think I have, though, to be fair, in most of this area, because I've gone back and forth. As long as it looks like a fur stripe, don't worry too much. Don't compare it to mine. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Just let me know. So I'm just now coming in and creating a little bit more of the flickiness of the fur. Oh, the tuxedo cat, this works perfectly for. I did do this on a tuxedo cat portrait. I should have put it up so I could have shown you. And it's one of my favourites. It worked amazingly. The cat was called, I've done a couple actually. My most favourite one was called Herbie, and his mum was amazing. His mum liked to sort of just dress him up in different outfits. And he was brilliant for the photo reference. Okay, I've made that little black stripe a little bit more than it is in the photo. I'm absolutely fine with that. So again, if I want to just make some little adjustments, I will. So it doesn't need to be exact. Some little hints down there. So I need to correct here. This needs to come up. Coming across from the eye. Just concentrating as I come up through there. And then here I need to self-correct. So let's have a look. I can see it quite clearly on the screen actually, so that needs to just come up through there. Just break that up a little bit. But again, I'll do this on a top to toe at the end. I'll do the correcting, the final corrections, and real fine hair flicks all at the end. That is pretty much there for that side of the face. Let's have a look. Let's take away the reference and see what we look like. You can see there, that started to create that lovely drama of that side of the face, that lovely lighting. Compared to where we were at before we started, that has really brightened up that side of the face and pulls that contrast up. It's not quite as much as the photo, but like I said, it's not going to go as bright as the photo. I'm quite happy with the way that is going, so hopefully you guys can get that effect and understand what we've done. Like it's blended grey. Mine is the paper shown in the middle of the stripe. That's fine if it looks okay. Mine, I would like to have left more paper there. I've gone in and it has blended quite a lot of grey, but my lighting in here, it is actually really black. And so I was saying about the lighting here, it's going to reflect, my light is reflecting on my black mount board a little bit. So it's going to look greyer on your screen. That's just a problem that I can't overcome. We've fiddled with the light so much. As you can see here, I'm putting in pure black in here. If you've got pure black paper showing, that's absolutely fine. You need it pure black in there. Mine is not grey right in the centre. It's only grey on the transition between the black and the main bright white stripe. So it's got blended grey from the black to the white, but the actual darkest bit there and the darkest bit here is pretty much pure black. Okay, I'm not sure if even if I move this, maybe if I do that, there you go. If I hold it up like that, you can see I've not got any light reflecting on it there. You can see that my black stripe is pretty black in there. Hopefully you can see that. Is it I've lost now, Dawn? But when I drop it back down, my lights, my working lights in here reflect a little bit, so there you can see it's a lot darker in the stripes. Okay. Right, I just need to grab a tissue a second. Bear with me a second and I'll be back with you. Just give me 2 secs. Okay, I'm back with you. It's alright, I had to shout hubby as well. I'm absolutely, the lights in here today. Well, it's because it's hot outside as well. I'm burning up. So he's just going to grab a fan and pop a fan on for me. So let me just have a quick look in the chat. Is there anything that I've missed? Looks up, picture and gasps. Beautiful. Hope you're talking about your own picture there. Fab. What is with Shepherd? The paper showing, but it's black cancer and meteor. Yes, I mean, depending on what paper you're using, it's slightly different, like I say, but hopefully by holding mine up there, you did see the difference. It's just where the light is reflecting. It's alright, we're just setting up the fan. So that's fine. Brilliant, that's much better. I can turn it off then if I get too hot. I was too cold earlier, it's quite funny. Right, so we're going to move across now. Hopefully you're happy with that area. It needs a little bit more refinement, which we can do at the end with super sharp pencils. Oh bless, working on the cat. Mine's black also, but only as long as my daylight lamp is turned off. Yeah, exactly. I've got bright lights in here, really bright lights, so that's possibly not helping. So I'm going to swap everything over here. I might just need to move the reference photo to the other side as well, so bear with me. Let me just move the reference photo across on the screen. And I might have to take myself off the screen because I can't pop myself up there. Let's just see how we go here. Well, I might be able to fit that in there, you know. I've just got to jiggle all this around so we can work on that lower half. Bear with me. I've got a ton of programs open here. So let's move this up on my board as well. And get it all in shot. So I want to come down and just work the area on the left hand side. So we can see the difference between how bright the top area is and then this lower area. So let me just get that in shot. There we go. Okay, and then we will try and come down and get some of that muzzle work done as well. That there. Get my glassine in place. And then I need to get my reference photo just over here as well. I'm not going to do that second eye today. I've shown you how to do the eye. So I should have just done mine. It's such a small amount of eye there. Wendy's just made me coffee and scones. I've just seen that. I looked up and I saw Susan say, send some my way, Barry. And I had to see what she was sending. Coffee and scones. scones. Rob, where are my coffee and scones? I think we're gardening after this. Got the estate agent coming next week to take photos to put the house on the market. So I've been out today buying those like topiary fancy bush things to go and pot up. So I need to do that later. And then I've got a nice man coming to returf all my garden next week. So let's have a look here. Okay, so this is the same principle as we used when we were first starting out on the other side last week with the stripe underneath the right eye. This side we want to soften back, so I'm going to work this little area here, because here it comes nowhere near as bright as the bright white. I'll show you on the reference. So here it's nowhere near the area that's super bright white over here, but what we do is we put our whites down and then we knock it back. Remember what I said last week? We knock it back with the black and we soften it down to almost a grey, because there's no way it needs to be or to look like the bright white over on this side. So let me just get that into place again. Here we go. Okay, so where shall we work? We are going to work. This is a nice transition area here. I think this would be a nice area to do because it comes to the white area of the brow, but like I say, it's nowhere near as bright as that side. It's pretty much as it is now, so we just need to build up and soften a little bit. I might pull in the Derwent white, the drawing pencil, a teeny tiny bit, but nowhere near as much as on the other side. So I'm going to pop it to one side at the moment and see how far we can go with our Procolour. So I'm going to come in on this brow stripe here first of all, and I'm just going to start to refine in the direction of the fur and seeing what we can build up. And I know that I'll have to come in with my black pencil and knock it back and soften, but let's see what we can build up in this area just using our Procolour. And the difference, again, this is the difference between using two, if you were using maybe 3 different white pencils here, each with their own levels of opaqueness, or you could even bring in a grey pencil. So I'm pulling down here as well. Then the 3 together would give you 3 levels of opacity and in effect 3 different levels of tonal value. So I'm just going to, let's make sure I'm straight. I'm just going to come around this line here. Okay, yeah, you can see. So I just want to create this shape, and we're almost just going to work on this block here, but it all needs to tie together. So again, I'm flicking my eyes back and forth, putting these lines down in the direction of that fur coming around here. And I'm putting down more white than is needed, and then I'll cut back through, remember, with our black pencil. So now we come down here over the top of the brow, just keep an eye on that fur direction, and then this fur here comes up from the brow just like this. Okay, so I'm going to come up once more. Same light pressure, about a pressure 3. There's a pressure test video on here if you need to learn more about the pressure that I use. I did one with watercolour pencils and one with colour pencils. I could do one with white on black pencils. Okay, so now in here, this area here, I'm putting a few flicks, but we've already got too much white pencil down in here, because on the reference photo for this stripe, it's actually a lot darker. I'm just refining it, and then we'll knock back with our black pencil. I just want to make sure I've got all the shapes right. So I'm not sure if you can see, but here I've got 2 layers of Procolour. Here there's pretty much just 1 layer of Procolour, so there is a slight variation there in the tone already. And then as I come across, just making sure there's a little touch of pencil down everywhere that there's a hint that isn't black, basically. And then we are ready to come in with cool. We'll come in now with our black pencil and we'll start to soften this back. How do you see all the detail in the picture? Do you enlarge the image and print it out? The image is printed out A4 size, exactly the same size as my drawing. I always print out the same size as my drawing. I used to use a screen and zoom in and out, but I just find then you're focusing and getting yourself caught up on too much detail you don't need to worry about. We're going for the effect here, so I make sure that my reference is the same size as my drawing. Right, I'm going to come in now and start to knock some of this back. So I'm going to come in with first strokes in the direction and the length. We might need to repeat this by putting white in over the top. So we're looking at the black shapes here as well, and the black marks, and pulling those back down into our white stripes. But we're also coming in and knocking back some of the whites to soften it to like a nice grey. Some places it will need it more than others. And if we take it back too dark, we just come in with a little glaze of white over the top to brighten it up again. Same as here, this whisker is too bright, so I'm just going to knock it back. My tea and my coffee and scones haven't arrived yet. Hope you're enjoying yours, Barry. Is everyone doing okay? I'm trying to keep up with the questions. So here we're just softening this back. Really light pressure, and I'm going to come up through here now and just start to soften some of this black, so back with my black as well. So I'm leaving some of the white. I'm not glazing over the whole lot. I'm leaving some of the white there, but cutting through it and glazing over some of it with my black. And that now has sunk that area back really nicely. And then the areas that's the little flicks that are still white are creating the contours and the depth and the tone. So pull some of those shadows down. That bit there is a little bit too bright. If I use black, I think it's going to soften too much, but that's fine. And then we go out to the next stripe and we start correcting in from that stripe as well. I don't want to get too far out there, we just want to carry on this area here. So let's cut through this stripe here. I hope the fan's not too noisy. Let me know if it's too noisy. I've got it on low. I've actually cooled down quite a bit now. Okay, so let's just soften that back there. And then we can need to come in with our white. So this area here, that paper there I've left plain black. That area there, some of that I've left plain black. But my lights might be reflecting on the screen. Let's pull that down a little bit. Okay, might also. How does it do? Is it more of a learn the detail you need to do as you go? You're keeping up with the questions just fine. Learn the detail you need to do as you go. Yeah, you kind of get a feel for it, depending on what fur you're depicting. I tend to do shapes, so I tend to look at my shapes and the relationship of the shapes to each other. So I'll look at this shape here, and it's like a curvy C, let's say. Well, it's just like almost a curvy C, and then this is more of a curvy C. Now, how far is that curvy C away from there? How wide is each curvy C, and how wide is the area between those two curvy Cs? Then what's the tonal value between the two? And then the texture. The texture I kind of do last, the detail. It's more the shapes, and then making the shapes all relative to each other, and then the tonal values, and then any depth, any texture comes in right at the end, or any details. Right, so I'm coming back in with the white now, and then I'm going to come around. So I might need to pull in. No, I don't think I do. I was thinking I might need to pull in the artist pencil, but I don't. So now I'm coming in, and I'm just popping in some slightly brighter white fur lines there, and then a few little flecks up through here, through the black shape there. Now I've put one little mark down there, and it's come out just a little bit too bright, if you can see that on the screen. So I'm just going to soften it back with the black. So flicking my eyes back and forth all the time. Okay, so a little bit more detail down through here. Little short strokes through here. So the fur, the type of fur changes. On the outside edge it was really long and flicky. Here it's about a medium length flicks, but then as we come in over this area here, very short flicks, and keep an eye again on the direction. And I need to come in here with the black again. So again, it's just repeat, repeat. This side is taking much less time than the other because we don't need to build up that bright whiteness. Okay, so let's soften some of that back again. Coming through here to soften and darken some of this area here. So I'm looking at the shape of this black stripe here. looking at it in relationship to this black stripe here, and what's the the distance between them, how do they relate to each other. It's that negative space that surrounds my white stripes. The white stripes should be my main feature, but by focusing on the shapes around the white stripes, the negative space, that's how you get all of your shapes to be relative to each other. Okay, so I'm going to pull away in a second and try and get the whole piece on view so you can see the difference between this left hand side and the right hand side. You can keep repeating this, keep rotating between your black and your white pencil, keep flicking between the two until you're happy. Okay, I'm going to throw, let's check the time, 20 past. I'm going to throw it open for general questions, any questions in a second, and then I'm going to move down to the muzzle if everyone's okay with how we are working this slightly darker area. So that's a little bit too bright there now, so I'm going to come in with the black and just texturize and take away some of the white. So let me take this away, and then I'll hold it up to the light. You should be able to see better the difference. Let me change camera to I'll jig brand and take that off as well. Okay, and then move this down. Okay, so now you should be able to see a real difference between the way we worked over here, how bright it was, and how this is much softer over here. Now you can keep taking this back, darkening this up, soften, 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 until you're really, really happy with the contrast. Keep darkening this area up here. And you'll come in here and darken some of this. There's more pencil down over on this side than we need, but hopefully you can just see the difference, how soft this is in comparison to this area here. And once this is all complete, this is going to be pushed more back into darkness, and this is pulled out into the lightness. Just sent some by courier. Brilliant. Fancy how my pencils would all melt. The muzzle, working on A2 Tiger in colour. Video be on YouTube. Yeah, the YouTube. This will be up, Ashley, on YouTube. It's a live stream, so it will be here and it's public. So any questions, any general questions that you've got? I'm just going to turn my fan off. There we go. Oh, it's gone quiet. So any general questions that you've got, let me know now, and I'm going to line up then and get ready to move down to the muzzle if everybody's happy. Okay, let's get this lined up nicely. Move that over there. You can see the light's just not, if I hold it up like this, it's much better. You can see the detail and the difference in the light, and it's much more black. But to work, I can't work up at that angle with the camera, so I've got to lay it down. So let's get that there so you can see it all. No questions. Okay, I'm going to grab a quick drink anyway, and then we'll get on, and we'll be on the last half an hour. It flies by. So anyone who's interested anyway, whilst I'm waiting in case a question pops up, anyone who, obviously, you know I do tutorials, so there's a ton of tutorials over on my website. The links are in the description of the video. There is also, as well as the tutorials, obviously I've got the Patreon channel, the teaching channel. And on there we do a live draw along every month where I work with you guys, and you've got access, if you did want to join, you get access to everything that's on there instantly. So all the tutorials, all the draw alongs, there's some tutorials on there that aren't public, so I haven't released them publicly either. Some are, like just video tutorials. There's some, I think there's some fur tutorials that are on there, lots of other things. And of course you get access to the live draw along session every single month as well, which is basically just like this. We choose a topic, you get all the resources and then a materials guide, and then we draw along live and you get to ask me questions, and it's nice and relaxed and chill because it's not a huge group. I try and limit the amount that, of people that come on there. I'm not actually sure if there's any space on the draw along at the moment, but yeah, this is what we do basically. So you're all happy so far? Thank you, Barry. I remember to drink. It's oh, okay, it's full, is it? Actually, you've had a look. Okay, well, I'm gonna look. We've got one coming up next week, and I'm thinking today, to be honest, the number of people that I get coming in is much less than the number of people I've had here today, and I only worry about keeping up with chat, but I've also got, obviously, Susan, and I've got a couple of other, I've got a new moderator team starting, so as long as I've got people that can keep up with the general questions, so if I say something and it needs repeating, and I'm just drawing, it means I can focus more on the drawing than on the chat. If someone's come in and said, oh, what pencils are we using again, or what did you say there, then my moderators can help out now, which means that I should be able to free up a few more spaces in there, so I can let you know. I might be able to release another 5 to 10 spaces if there's demand, so I'll take a look at that this weekend anyway. Oh, thank you, Sandra. Yeah, it's weird, I kind of got used to talking through, I guess, because whenever I draw, I'm always filming a tutorial, and that way, sort of, I waffle. I guess I waffle, but maybe, as long as I'm talking and it's making sense. I'm just going to have a quick... No, I thought it was here. Oh, it's here. In case you haven't seen, this is the one we're working on at the moment, and this will be the next tutorial that goes up on Patreon. So this is a tiger in ink tents that I started a few days ago. It's just drying out, and then I'm going to come in with extra layers next to start to add detail in. He's very much a work in progress, but he's a play session, so we have play sessions on there as well, but this will just be a quick video tutorial teaching how to use ink tents basically. So that's the kind of thing that we do. Type of pencil, paper. The board I'm working on, Shirley, this is just mount board. So mat board, if I'm not sure whereabouts you are, mat board if you're in the US or overseas, it's just mount board, black mount board. I'm not sure what the make is, but it's just white core black mount board. Pretty standard, any black mount board or mat board. I'm not waffling, I feel like it sometimes. Canson Black drawing paper does not seem to get as many layers, but really love lessons. Thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things. I've never tried the Canson Black. I used to use Somerset Velvet for all my black drawings. I love the suede matte and the effect. I can't wait to see the results of the suede matte that's being used today. And it looks amazing on someone's been using the anthracite pastel matte for this as well. But that's the thing. If you use a slightly different pencil or a slightly different support, yours can come out looking completely differently. And I just love seeing all the effects. And one thing as well, before we move on to the next bit, if you are drawing along, there's a hashtag #TigerDrawAlong. You can post it anywhere online. Please do pop it in all the groups that you can if you want. It just helps promote and bring people to my YouTube channel. Helps my viewing figures and things. So if you put the hashtag #DrawAlong, I can then search for that hashtag and find you wherever you've posted it, Instagram, online, anywhere. I can find the image, and then I can share that out hopefully by email and on my own social media. But if you're up for sharing it in the groups, the pencil groups, the animal art groups, etc., just mention it was a draw along, and people can access it for free. And another thing as well is if you're all happy just to like, if you've enjoyed, or you are enjoying today, if you're happy to like the video, and then whilst there's a little subscribe button to my channel, if you haven't already subscribed, it'd be amazing if you could just subscribe to my channel, because that just helps me so much. Right, so let's get on. We've got half an hour left, I believe. I've waffled another few minutes. Yeah, we've got about half an hour left. So let's come down and have a look at this muzzle area. Let me zoom in a tiny bit. Let me just see if I can take this in a little bit. Bum, 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 bum. Zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Right, I just need to move my board again now. So zoomed in a little bit there. Let's come back to here. A little bit bright. Just change, see if I can change the lighting a little bit as well. See if that helps. Go with that. Okay. Thank you. Hashtag Tiger DrawAlong. So now we need our stencil. We're going to try our stencil for this. You don't have to do it this way. You can do it with pencil strokes if you want. Exactly the same process as we were using up here. You can come in with a light glaze of your white, then start to come in with the point of your black pencil with pencil strokes and stubble. You need to stubble around here, and then white, and then black, and repeat. And then on the reference you can see here we've got a light area, but if you squint your eyes, this is nowhere near as bright as this. So you're not going to take anywhere as bright as this area here. It's somewhere in between. It's not even, this is a lot brighter than this area. So it's a case of you'd come in with possibly 2 layers of white here, and then you'd start to mark in some of your dark spots and then glaze over the whole area with a really, really light pressure of the black. And then you'd use more black down through here, but even through here you can see some marks. Now remember what I said right back at the beginning of the first video, wherever you can see a hint of anything that isn't black, you've got to put a glaze of white down. But what we're going to do to help ourselves here is the black texture lines, we're going to deboss them, so we're going to indent them using our stylus. I'm going to use it as a different method. You don't have to do this, like I say, you can do it just with your pencils. So I'm going to get my reference. Maybe I need to pop my reference up above. Bear with me. No, I'm going to leave it down below. So you might see my double chins here as I'm leaning down. So I'm going to come in before I glaze, and let's get our marks. There's my nose. There's that little one coming up here. Just getting my bearings. Okay, so I'm going to come in here with my debossing tool, my stylus. I'm just going to start to press down the dark marks. I'm doing them in the direction and the length of the fur itself. So I'm pressing in the dark marks. Doesn't matter if they're not exact, as long as they are in the right direction. Now we come up over here. Let's get this lined up. So we come up here. Okay, so here. You can do all over the nose. I would actually recommend you do this all over your nose before you come in with a pencil. I might not have time today, so I might need to just do an area, and then I'll need to erase. So same with on this side, you can come up here and start to map in some of the black texture lines. So it's not the fur strokes, it's the black shadow areas around the fur. So all the little dark marks that you can see. Now I'm going to make smaller marks, almost like stippling, as I come down over the nose area. And what happens, this is the exact same, if you're doing it in reverse and working on white paper, this is where you would impress in, indent or deboss your whiskers to preserve them. So here, everywhere that I'm pressing, I'm going to preserve the black. Just flick this back up so I can see the chats. Hashtag. No, where was that, Louise? You need to put hashtag Tiger DrawAlong, all one word, and then you can post it anywhere. So post it on your own page, as long as it's public, on Facebook, in any of the art groups, pencil groups, in the Animal Art by Law group, wherever you post it. I can just search that hashtag anywhere on the internet and I can find it. Is that why you use pastel matte or mount board? Because you can get more layers as opposed to a smooth. No. Pastel matte is textured. I can get 100 layers on there if I want. Mount board is smooth. Mount board is the opposite. It's super smooth, so you're going to get 4 or 5 layers down. If you're super light pressure, yeah, maybe 5 or 6 layers. But mount board is not to be confused with pastel matte. They are complete opposites. So let me just get... You've got different sizes, remember, as well with your stylus. So you could use, if you've got some little bobbles in here that are chunkier, you could pull out a stylus with a different size end to it and use that for getting down any really thick shapes. I want to make sure in here, because I'm going to come in with my white pencil over all of this area in a minute, so I just want to make sure I've got a decent amount pressed in here before I come in, and that they're all in the right direction. So don't try and keep up with me on this, just watch if you want to, and then you can get what I'm doing. So down here, I'm not going to do down here, but down here you just want to make sure you're doing your little lines in the direction of the fur again. So they're going to start to come out always in the direction of the fur, always in the length as well as the direction of the fur as well. Okay, so I'm going to come in and glaze. I think I've pressed down enough there just to give an example. Right, so now I'm grabbing my Procolour. Long, thin, nice sharp point in it. We're not using the point. Pressing hard enough, Ashley, to indent, basically. Alison, is as much, it's quite a firm pressure because the mount board's quite hard, so it's enough for it to indent. I can see the indentations. Don't go in light because nothing will happen. It's one of those ones you need to practice with. Exactly when you transfer a line drawing using the deboss method, you need to just practice on that paper. Sometimes people go, oh, I didn't press hard enough because the line isn't going to show up. So now I either want a blunt pencil or I'm going to use the side of this pencil. So I'm going to turn it on its side, hold it like this, and now I'm going to just glaze this pencil over this area. And I don't know if this is going to show up on the camera. But the little indentations that I've made, I might need to zoom in for you. As soon as I glaze over the area, I can see them. I don't know if you can see them on camera. I've now preserved a layer of the black. And it helps create, let's say, it's just a different way of creating the texture in there. I think they're just showing up on the screen. Oh, bless Marie. It's lovely to have had you here anyway. So now what you can come in with is, you've got some indentations there, like say, that are going to stay black. So now you can come in with your Procolour and just start to increase the intensity again. As long as you're light with your pressure, start to build up your values again. So here, slightly brighter, here it's slightly darker. So we'll cut back into each other. Again, all we're going to be doing is repeating the white and the black. Hopefully you can see the indentations. Post your picture on social media. Thank you for that, Bob. So now I'm doing some pencil strokes to create fur, some pencil strokes are just there to create more tone. And as I put more strokes down, more pigment down over these indentations, they're going to show up a little bit more as well. here I'm using really short strokes in the direction of the fur itself. And then we'll come back in with our black, exactly like we've done everywhere else, and cut through it. I hate to rush. I feel like I'm rushing again now just because I want to show you this. I really hate rushing. So I'm going to increase the intensity there. Might need a little bit of the drawing pencil there just to brighten up that. In fact, let me come in with the drawing, because that, well, where have I put my drawing pencil? There. So let's come in with the drawing and just brighten up a couple of little flicks of the fur. So I'm just going to press ahead here. You don't need to keep up. I'm just, because I want to do more with my stylus all around this area. I just want to try and get some of this done to show you. And then I'll come in with my black pencil as well. So we'll have the indentations, which created really tiny lines underneath. We've come in with our Procolour, which has created a nice soft translucent texture or tone through there. We've come in with our Derwent drawing now, which has created a bit more of an opaque line there. And now I'm going to come in with the black, tiny sharp, and it's not, I want it super sharp here. Okay, so now I'm going to cut through. So again, you could do this all with your pencils. The stylus just gives you an extra layer of super fine detailing. So here, pretty much, I'm stubbling. The angle of the pencil, when I draw normally, it's like that. Now I'm stubbling, it's pretty much from overhead. So I change the angle of my pencil depending on the texture I'm trying to create. And it's just a case of back and forth here to create the texture. So in other words, in with the white, in with the black, in with the black, sorry, in with the white, in with the black, and each time it just becomes a little bit more refined. Stubble, 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 stubble. Slightly longer hairs there. Need to start taking it dark on this side. Well, maybe the dogs and Rob are full of treats downstairs. It's very quiet. Okay, so I'm going to come in again now with the drawing pencil. Start to pop in some of the more obvious white lines. It's very much like most colour pencil work. You just repeat layers. You don't get it quite on the first layer. First layer, big shapes. Second layer, start to balance the shapes out and then get your tones right. And then your final layers, that's when you come in with details and your texture. You don't do it all in the first layer. And I think sometimes that is what people struggle with. Okay, so that there. I do feel like I am rushing this now, but I'm just going to knock some of that back. Thanks, Susie. Speak again soon. And Louise, dog walking calls. Yeah, ours is feeding time soon. I'd love to be able to do another session on this one, but I'm not. I just don't see it in. I can't fit anything in the next week or so. I've got a Q&A session. I've got a live stream with my guys on Patreon, and I've got the other tiger tutorial to finish and edit, and I've got the little fold tutorial to type up. So that's why I can't commit to another session on this one anytime soon. And I know you guys, it's not fair asking people to wait like a month whilst I try and fit the next one in, but I wanted to show you enough today that you should have the skills to be able to go away and now work on this one yourself. I'd love to be able to do all my live streams free to everybody, but obviously, you know, I have to make my income, so, you know, my Patreons and my Patreon channel comes first, but anything I can do, if I can do some ad hoc, I've got a few pieces to finish that I've started on DrawAlongs that I need to finish, so I need to, I could maybe come online and do some of those. So what happens then is, obviously you look at the black shape in there, in the inner corner, and then this one here, and then we want to make sure all of this then matches up, the distance between that and there. The level of tonal value between this and here, you need to, you know, sort of like balance it, sort of, that's super bright, that's much darker, this is somewhere in between, and then where does everything else fit on the scale of the tonal value to make it all balance out. See, I'm not happy with that texture in there, so I know that I need to come in and just start to really texturize this quite roughly now that I've got a decent amount in of pencil down there. But then I need to work these shapes as well. So let's have a look. So let's glaze up through here. I want to get everything done now. I want everything matching up. So then, and then it's back to working those stripes. Exactly like we've done before, how we started out today, doing the stripes and then cutting through them with our black. And so even as a white stripe, cutting through with the black creates the texture. Okay, so we're coming up to the end of this session. Please do, I'm just going to carry on working over here. Please do pop up any more questions that you might have. Anything that you need to know about this one to enable you to finish if you're unsure. Just softening back some of these stripes. Oh, I've gone off screen again, sorry. Got carried away. So anything else that you need to know, if you think you need anything else, any other guidance to be able to finish this, but I think you should be okay. We did one eye, so it's easy enough to do the second eye. We've done the bright white fur, how to do the black stripes into your white fur, and we've done some of the duller area, and then some of the texture here over the actual muzzle area. And then it's a case, like say, of coming down through with really light pressure with your white pencil, and then cut back through it with your black pencil, and it gradually, it all comes together. Okay, so I'm going to come in again here now with the drawing pencil because it's brighter. start to pop in some of these bright little bits of fur up through here. And start to correct and cut in with our black. And this is, like I say, it's a really good way of learning how to mix and blend with your pencils. It's really a nice, simple way, and all you're using, you're not worrying about colour, it's just your tones and creating different shades of grey. That's what we should call him, maybe, apart from it's a female. I was going to say we could have called him 50 Shades of Grey. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out again now. Where are we? Take away my reference. And then hold her up. So there we can see. Let me take me away as well. There we go. So now you can see. Obviously we started out with the eye on the first go in this area here. We've gone up and we've done our lovely bright area up here. And our transitions from our dark shadows into our brighter lights. We can oomph that up, that white up even more at the end to adjust our contrast. We've started working this darker area here, and as you can see we can probably take it down darker again. Once we've got the whole picture in, then you can come in and maybe soften this back even more. But again, that's an adjustment I would make later on. And then here we're just starting, you can just see the texture starting to build up here of that fur coming up over the nose, and we'll just carry on working that down. You're flicking in your actual whiskers and that is going to be nice and easy. You might need to soften some of these whiskers back over here. It's just a case of, you know, just keeping repeating. The difference that this has made today is huge. You know, that the areas, the little areas that we've worked on, and the more that you work on it, and don't rush like I was doing then, the more refined it will be. Let me just have a quick look over here at the questions again. Do we add many stylus marks on the left of the nose? Yeah, if you can see down on that reference photo. Well, it's not as great on here, but I can see lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. So I would come in there with the stylus, literally pretty much all over, and indent all that back, and then glaze over it with white, and then glaze over it with black, and that should be enough on this area without coming in with your fine detail pencil. You should be able to do it just with your stylus, and then a glaze of white Procolour, and then a glaze of black over the top to soften it back, and that should give you black indentations and then a really soft dark grey hint of the fur and the light over the top. Have a little play on a spare piece of paper and see what works on your paper with the pencils that you're using. That's the best thing I can think of. Eileen, I don't generally do tutorials, only yours here, so they're really interesting. Thank you so much, Eileen. That's made it worth me coming on here today. Let me just flip this back over again. Pop him down in the corner. I've switched my cameras around, so can't remember which one's which on these, to be honest. Let's everything catch up. Pop my image there. You can see it better in the smaller, brighter image, just how bright that is up there and how much darker it is on this side. It's going to look lovely. I do want to finish it. Overall, I'm loving the contrast, adding on this black Derwent drawing. Fab. Kylie, I think, yes, I wish it wasn't almost 1 AM drawing with you, but I will be on catch up. Fabulous. Casina, just doing this free tutorial. Learned a lot and really appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate you saying thank you, and I appreciate you even being here. And work for a completely white dog. Yeah, absolutely. It works brilliantly. What you want to do is, I think I've got a video on here of how to adjust and edit your reference photos for doing this specifically. I'm sure they're on here. If you search edit reference photo on my channel, there is one specifically for doing black and whites. So make your picture black and white, bump your contrast, add more light to it, and that will give you the drama. You don't want to just do a flat white dog or flat white cat photo without having bumped your reference image first. Works brilliantly for things like border collies and that as well. So anything black and white, and the tuxedo cat, it's going to work brilliantly for it. Thank you so much, Barry. Susie, will I finish this piece at some point in the future? I can't guarantee it, Susie. At the moment, I'm starting to feel a bit ill again now already. As much as I want to finish it, and I've got so many unfinished pieces, and I should finish it, the pressure of me recording everything that I do at the moment is a little bit overwhelming, where I've not been well. So I will try. It might be a case that I film it and don't do a voiceover. I might just film it so I can listen to music and enjoy the drawing as well, because it is a lot of pressure to do the whole thing and talk, and obviously my voice starts to go. But I will try. I'll think about it and I'll try, because I would like to get it finished now. It's not that far off. I think a couple of hours work and I could get this one done. Actually, only shoot I've done is this tiger on your cat eye. Fabulous. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Susie. Hopefully have a good weekend. Lots of gardening. Thank you, Barbara and Ashley. Marisha, thank you so much. You're going to get black paper next month. Fabulous. It's only a short while away. Well, thank you everyone for having joined me today. Obviously, yeah, check out my tutorials and everything if you want more. There's loads of stuff here free on Patreon. I'm sorry, here on YouTube. You've got my Patreon if you want to go there. I'll have a look at freeing up some more spaces on the DrawAlong category as well, because this is, let's say, this is a lot busier than my normal DrawAlongs, so we should be fine. We'll see. Big thank you to Rob and to Susan, who've been moderating for us today and looking after you all when I've been too busy drawing to chat. And I hope I haven't missed anyone's questions. I hope you're okay from the doctor, Suzanne. And please remember, like I say, do give the video if you can a thumbs up, and obviously just subscribe to the channel would be brilliant. So until the next time, I shall say goodbye to wherever you are, and I'll speak to you all again soon. And make sure you use the tag #TigerDrawAlong wherever you post it online, and get it up in the groups and say, look what I did, because I'm sure they're going to blow mine away. I know they are. Yours all can look fabulous. Okay, right, I shall see you all again soon, and I shall end this now. So thank you very much, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.